All right, so as we all know, a couple days ago, Biden has officially released a warning regarding Russian cyber attacks. This is something that I've been talking about for a while now, and Biden coming out and saying this, it's just giving a stamp of approval on it. In this video, I want to discuss different reasons why I was led to believe that a cyber attack is imminent and it is coming, and it's also a very real threat. I'm not going to be going into heavy detail, but I do want to provoke you all to think about the situation and just think of this video as like an open forum discussion. Just drop in the comments how you feel. I will be in the comments and I will be responding. I just want this video to spark a conversation and also help you all. So let's get straight into the video. All right, so a cyber attack. A lot of us don't even know what that looks like. We just know about, different hacks, little petty hacks. But what does a global cyber attack even look like? Let's take a look back to 2021 in May. The Colonial Pipeline was hacked, and that resulted in the entire East Coast scrambling to get gas and a lot of gas pumps not having gas to give. So it was a big issue. We seen, it was all over social media, people filling up a bunch of tanks, long lines, people looking on different apps to try to figure out where we can go to get gas. It was pretty crazy. In my opinion, that was just a stress test to see what the attack would look like and how people would act. So we take a look at the psychology of people during that time when we got hit with that unexpectedly. It caused a lot of scrambling around and a lot of people to hoard up gas and other people not having gas. So if we apply that to today's situation on a global cyber attack, attacking the financial industries and different infrastructures of the economy, what would that look like? So in my opinion, comparing it with the Colonial Pipeline, it's going to cause a lot of scrambling around and a lot of chaos. So if the banks were hit, the hospitals were hit, grocery stores, different transactions, different logistics were hit, people are going to be scrambling, trying to hoard up. A lot of people are going to rush to the bank, try to get their money out. It's going to be liquidity issues. Banks aren't going to be able to give money to people. They're not going to be able to take their money out the bank. Then, they're going to go to the grocery stores, try to hoard up on food and toilet paper like the pandemic. There's not going to be much product on the shelves in grocery stores. It's going to be like when the pandemic hit times 1,000. So it will cause a huge societal eruption and an economic collapse. We haven't even talked about the overall markets. Obviously, the markets are going to crash astronomically. We're already seeing signs of a recession anyway, with oil spiking, with the bond market spiking. These are all signs that a recession is near. So we have all these signs building up, then we throw a cyber attack on top. That's the catalyst for the boom. Then everything's going to crash. Everything's going to go to crazy bottom prices. But this is just an obvious result of what we can see from a cyber attack. Something interesting is that the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, collaborated with 10 countries and ran a simulation regarding a cyber attack hitting the financial industry. Now, isn't that funny? This was back in December before Ukraine was even invaded by Russia. Let's look at the results from this simulation. The simulation features several types of attacks that impacted global foreign exchange and bond markets, liquidity, integrity of data, and transactions between importers and exporters. They said that what would happen would be that the banks would start appealing for emergency liquidity assistance in a multitude of currencies to put a halt to the chaos as counterparties withdraw their funds and limit access to liquidity, leaving the banks in disarray and ruin. They said that these events would create havoc in the financial markets. They also discussed multilateral policies to respond to the crisis, including a coordinated bank holiday, debt repayment grace periods, swap/repo agreements, and coordinated delinking from major currencies. So it really sounds like to me that they pre-plan what they're going to do and how they're going to do it once this happens. And this was back in December, keep in mind. This was still pretty recent before all these things started happening. So it's almost like they knew it would happen. It's almost like they're kind of making it happen. But let's go further into that point. So in the It's Time for a Great Reset document that was created by the World Economic Forum back in 2020 after the pandemic, Klaus Schwab stated, "The world must act jointly and swiftly to revamp all aspects of our society and economy. From education to social contracts and working conditions. We must build entirely new foundations for our economic and social systems." So it sounds like Klaus Schwab wants to take advantage of good crisis to rebuild a new system. So for a while now, the World Economic Forum has been warning of a risk of a cyber pandemic. They said that it could wreak havoc over all society, and the global digital dependency only makes this a bigger threat. They've been talking about a looming cyber attack threat since around 2017. And And back in 2021 of January, they actually released a video titled "A Cyber Attack with COVID-like Characteristics." Take a minute and listen to this video.
The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken our economies and societies to the core and shown us how vulnerable we are to biological threats. In the digital world, similar risks are being overlooked right now. A cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics would spread faster and further than any biological virus. Its reproductive rate would be around 10 times greater than what we've experienced with the coronavirus. To give you an idea, one of the fastest worms in history, the 2003 Slammer sapphire worm, doubled in size approximately every 8.5 seconds, infecting over 75,000 devices in 10 minutes and almost 11 million devices in 24 hours. Fortunately, at least until now, cyber attacks have not impacted our health the way pandemics have, but the economic damages, and therefore the impact they have had on our daily lives, have been equal and sometimes even greater. You see, the only way to stop the exponential propagation of a COVID-like cyber threat is to fully disconnect the millions of vulnerable devices from one another and from the internet. All of this in a matter of days. A single day without the internet would cost our economies more than $50 billion, and that's before considering the economic and societal damages should these devices be linked to essential services such as transport or healthcare. As the digital realm increasingly merges with our physical world, the ripple effects of cyber attacks on our safety just keep on expanding at a faster pace than what we're preparing for. COVID-19 was known as an anticipated risk. So is the digital equivalent. Let's be better prepared for that one. The time is now.
As we can see, cyber attacks act a lot like viruses. And that's very interesting because my dad actually told me that back in November when COVID was kind of growing. He was like, oh, this is spreading like a virus, like a computer virus. And my dad works in information technology. He's been working that for his whole life. So he knows a lot about computer viruses. So it kind of makes you think. It kind of sounds like it's created. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with that. During an annual cybersecurity event called Cyber Polygon hosted by World Economic Forum, they were pretty open in discussing the fact that they desire for everyone to have a digital identity. They want to deal with ransomware. They want to censor people. They want to enhance censorship. And they also want to demonize cryptocurrencies. The reason they want to demonize cryptocurrencies is because they want to implement a fully traceable central bank digital currency that can be programmed and doled out with permissions on how they can be spent. So we're already seeing the government controlling the money in Canada. We had protesters that weren't, going along with the agenda of the government. So they froze their bank accounts and they froze their crypto. So now they can't spend money. They can't, do much. If a fully government-backed central bank digital currency was implemented into society, that will completely strip us of our freedoms. If we're not abiding by their agenda or we post something on the internet that goes against what they want people to see, they will freeze your account and prevent you from being able to buy or sell. Doesn't that sound very familiar to a book? They're completely trying to strip our freedoms from us. Let's look at what Klaus Schwab has to say about it. So he's calling this the fourth industrial revolution, and he says that it will lead to the fusion of our physical, digital, and biological identities. So if humans are fused with technology and technology is easily manipulated, doesn't that mean that we will be easily manipulated? If y'all haven't watched Black Mirror on Netflix, y'all should go ahead and watch that. So it's clear that this risk of a cyber attack is very real and is very imminent. This is something that the higher ups want to happen so that they can implement their new system, their new world order. This is a real thing, and we should not take this lightly because this deals with our own personal freedoms. If you ignore this information and you don't take it serious and think that it won't involve you and it won't affect you, you have to really change your thinking because it is absolutely going to affect you. The world as we know it today is changing forever, and it will not revert back to the normality of things. Since 2020, they have been going full throttle to enact on their agenda so they can implement this entire new system, this new world. This cyber attack will absolutely crush the economy, the global economy. This is going to be on a global scale. It's going to crush the global economy, and it's going to affect every single individual, especially if you turn a blind eye to it. Different ways that we can prepare is to get ahead of the curve. As I mentioned earlier in the video, a lot of people are going to be scrambling around once these things begin to happen because they weren't, prepared for it. But if we prepare today and prepare early, we won't have to do that. So simple things that we can do to prepare is to stock up on food and water, at least a 3-month supply for you and your family. Bare minimum. That's just a bare minimum thing that you can do to just begin to start preparing at least 3 months. Also, go to the ATM today and take out a substantial amount of cash that you'll be able to transact with when the internet and the power collapses. I know a lot of people look at that as like, oh, that's an in-world situation, but it doesn't have to be that for you if you prepare accordingly. It's only going to feel like that to the people that's not properly prepared, and they feel like they have to go out and do things that they wouldn't normally do. So this is why you want to prepare for you and your family ahead of time, so you don't have to go out and be running around like a headless chicken. Take some cash out, get some food, stock up on food and water, a good supply of it. Have some cash, a good supply of it. And if you're in a good position, also buy gold, buy silver. Take all your money out the banks and just hold it all in gold and silver. These are things that's going to hold your value so that you're not losing your money when these banks crash. A lot of people are going to lose their money. It's going to be a bad situation. That's going to open up a slot for the government to control them. We've already seen what happened with the stimulus checks and the unemployment. People were relying on the government solely. So if something like this was to happen, they crashed the banks and they use this new system to pay these people a universal basic income in their new central bank digital currency. Say, look, you don't have to work. We'll just pay you. We'll pay you this every month to pay your little bills. I know it's sounding real bad, guys, but like I said, the world as we know it is changing. It sounds real bad. It might even look real bad, but this is why you don't want to let outside influences affect your inner being. This is why you want to have a strong relationship with God. And this is why you want to prepare accordingly before this stuff starts happening. All right, guys, so this is a quick video. I just wanted to come on here and invoke some thinking and to spark a conversation. If you have anything you want to say, just go ahead and drop it down in the comments. I will be in the comments and I will be responding. So feel free to say whatever you want to say in the comments. And if you want some more actionable steps on how to prepare, check out these 2 videos on the screen. These 2 videos are just more actionable steps to properly prepare. I appreciate all of you for watching. You all have a blessed rest of your weekend and have a great day. I love y'all. I'm out.